to be in compliance. Once I get that, then I'll get my planting schedule and then get the plants in there, and at that point, I'll be looking for a sign off.
Well, get it laid out by someone who knows what they're doing, and make sure you have the extra 10% or that it survives and it's done according to the order or documented.
Right, and like I said, I don't want you guys to think that I forgot my responsibility or I'm not following through with it. I'm just trying to stay in touch with you and try to make sure that everybody is informed on what the progress is. So, I mean, that's all I really have to say. It's just, want you guys to know that I want to work with you and make this all right and go from there.
Mr. Chairman, you want to, is there anything you want to, say about the DEP visit? As soon as the next commissioner joins the meeting, we're going to have to open and go directly to the hearing for 4 Nipmuc Drive. So, Mr. Sweet, it'd be great if you want anything from us immediately.
Well, there's really nothing. I mean, he's got to get everything done, finished up, and then
Okay.
it's got to be approved.
Right.
It's got to be all done in the way it's supposed to be. I mean,
Okay.
it's been 6 years it was supposed to be done, and or whatever it's been years. So right now, I don't trust any judgment over there.
Got it.
So we gotta just see what it looks like when it's completed, and if it's done the way it was supposed to be done, then we sign off.
Okay.
Just going by what people are saying is not fair to any of us.
Sure.
I mean, basically, all I see over there is a site getting ready to put another building up. Conveniently worked out that way. So, but that's okay. That's all
Carl's
good.
here. Okay, folks. Carl just joined the meeting, so we can start. So I'm going to read through real briefly the remote meeting protocols, and then we'll open up the hearing for 4 Nipmuc Drive. So I'm just going to rattle this off real quickly. If you have questions, let me know when I'm finished, please. So this open meeting of the Mendon Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 2020. Due to COVID-19, it suspends the requirement for open meeting law to have all meetings publicly accessible physical location. By the way, pardon my pronunciation. I'm just getting back from the dentist with a mouthful of Novocaine. Let's see. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless it was required by law. Supporting materials are available on the town's website, homepage calendar. The chair or I will introduce each speaker. After they conclude, the chair will entertain discussion by motions by members, each identifying themselves by name. Reminders, please mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. Please speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. State your name before speaking, and each vote taken tonight will be conducted by roll call. I have 717, Mr. Chairman.
Sounds good.
So we need to open up the public hearing for notices of intent for 4 Nipmuc Drive.
Yep, I'm just kind of looking
And
at the agenda here.
I'll share the plans up on the screen unless you want to do it, Carl. You want to handle that? No way? Okay, I'll do it.
Okay, 7:15 public hearing. We're gonna open the public hearing that was continued. Notice of intent for proposed single-family house at 20. Oh, that one. You said that one was can't.
Oh, yeah, they're ask if you want to dispatch with that right now. They've asked for a continuance to the next meeting.
All right, somebody make a motion to continue that public hearing to the next meeting, please.
Peter Coffin moves to continue that motion.
Carl Hummel, second.
Roll call vote.
Peter
Carl
Kaufman,
Hummel,
aye.
yes. Carl Hummel, yes.
Emilio, yes.
Damon, yes.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Notice, so the next one is, which one did you say it was, Bill?
4 Nipmuc Drive.
Or Nipmuc Drive. Why am I not seeing that on here? Is that just an addition or?
No, it should be on there.
Oh, I see it, I'm sorry. Proposed, public hearing notice of intent for proposed carport, walkway, and dock at 4 Nipmuc Drive. Is there somebody from Garriere here?
Yep.
Yes, I'm here. This is Amanda Cavalieri with Garriere and Howland.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So, I'm here on behalf of Rick and Barbara of 4 Nipmuc Drive. They are proposing to do a couple site modifications, I guess, at their existing house. 4 Nipmuc Drive is an existing 4-bedroom lot for a single-family house with a garage, driveway, and associated utilities. And they are right on Lake Nipmuc. The applicant's proposing to construct a 10.5 by 22-foot carport, which is outside of the buffer zone, off of the existing garage. And then they are also proposing to install a 12 by 31.5 foot floating removable dock along the shores of Nipmuc Pond for their property and for to have a boat in the pond. There is elevation differences that are from the upper area that's going to require 5-foot wide stairs to go down from the upper yard to the lower yard. And they're also proposing to clear out about a 50-foot wide by 10-foot, 50-foot long by 10-foot wide area along the pond to access that floating dock and replace it with some pea stone or sand, depending on what the commission's preference is. Right now, we're in front of the commission for a notice of intent and hopefully an order of conditions to be able to do this work. As you can see, it's right up against the pond. The dock is removable. And we included that in the packet for the commission members to look at. It consists of 4 by 10.5 foot removable panels, and they're placed on an aluminum frame. So there's no dredging or permanent structures being installed within the lake. But it's on footpads that will be not permanently embedded within the lake. So a lot of the work is, the majority of the work that's being proposed is within the 25-foot buffer, as well as the 50-foot buffer to the pond. And we're asking for the commission's, open discussion as far as allowing this to happen.
Okay, so we'll open it up to the board. If they have any questions for the applicant. I kind of know the system that they're going to probably try to use for a docking system. Lived on the opposite side of the lake and kind of had the same thing. So, I mean, usually with experience with these, they usually don't, do any damage, or they don't cause for any digging of the shoreline or anything. So is not intrusive, doesn't going to cause any harm to the shoreline. Where are they looking to put the sand and the stone?
Right off of the dock on the beach side, I guess, on the back side of it, land side. So it would probably be about halfway in between, going about 25 feet either way on either side of the dock, and about 10-foot wide strip.
Okay, I mean, as long as they are, I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but I'm not sure where they're gonna go with this. But you can't put any sand or stone in the water or on the shore. So, I mean, as long as they're I mean, how many feet do you feel you're gonna be away from the shore, from the beach? From the water?
Right. That I would probably defer to the applicant, if Rick and Barbara are on, if they're available to comment.
Yep. Noah, can you ask the question one more time?
The sand or stone that you're gonna put, is that gonna be like more for a walkway going to the dock? Or is that gonna be something that you wanna put to make a beach? I mean, the beach is, to put sand, they, they frown on putting sand in the, I mean, I know there is a lot of people on the lake that probably do it, but.
No, we have no intention of, we have no need for any sort of a beach at all.
Okay, so you're just gonna make the dock big enough, use the dock as the beach kind of thing?
Exactly right. That's why we have it the size that it is. Yep.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, I mean, anybody else have any questions on that, or they feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I have a question, Carl Hummel. As I recall, this is the part of the lake that got buzz cut or clear cut down to, the vegetation level. And at that time, the DEP came in and said that they were okay as long as the vegetation grew back, but they were very happy that none of the roots or stumps had been pulled out. Is that going to need to be done? And is it in a small enough area that it's not going to be a major impact?
You're probably gonna have just enough room there to get to your dock and stuff. It's pretty clear over there on that side of the
It's
lake, isn't it?
It's very
Okay.
clear. We had originally intended on removing a whole bunch of trees, but then we decided here that we really love all the trees. So there may be a few little skinny trees that we wanted to remove, but for the most part, everything's staying.
And so do we want to say that they don't grub them and pull them up and just cut them at the,
Yeah, you won't be able, you do what you do to limit yourself to what you gotta do there to get to your dock and have your area there. But, yeah, by law, you can't be, clear cutting any of that area. Like you said, you're not gonna, so that answers that question.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
And anybody else?
Yes, Peter Coffin with a question. Remind me, is this like right next to what the Marriott Ballroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
this?
this is the house, the chalet that was next there is now separate and was sold off separately from the ballroom.
Okay, but this is not the ballroom was talking about putting in a big a dock for the boat, right? This is a different dock?
Well, the ballroom's got a big tent out there, but this is totally separate from that. This is just for these people to have a private dock and have a boat so they can enjoy the lake.
Okay. So I don't know what the rights to docks are. If anyone who has frontage on the pond by rights has a dock. I know it's a different permit required. And yes, it's great that it's removable and on feet, but it's still going to impact the fish in the shadow. So that's one question. The other is it's attached somehow to something solid on the shore, which I'm not seeing a detail of. I'm seeing a couple rectangles, one crosshatched and one solid. So I understand how it's kind of a floating dock, but to what is it attached on the shore?
The PDF shows that it's not attached to anything. It's just like the back door of a trailer just flumps down on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I have the same setup at my house, just not as big. And it's just, if you put it in the water and it sits like it'll sit on the shore. And it's just the weight of it just holds it on the shore. I mean, maybe you might be able to put like a big, I might have some like stakes that you would stake into the ground, but the weight pretty much holds them, right where they need to be.
Okay, so I can see the 5-foot wide stairs because you need to go down to the bank and to go on to Well, it's a 12-foot wide dock by 31 feet long, you're saying. So you want a 5-foot wide stairs going onto it, but why do you have to go 31 feet to one side and 20 feet to the other to clear brush and replace with sand? So I'm hearing that you didn't want any sand, so maybe take that out of the plan and maybe just go with the stairs right to the dock. And I'll mute myself.
Is there an answer to that question?
Rick and Barbara, do you have anything that you want?
Yeah, now, so yeah, I mean, I'm fine with not having the, the area cleared around the dock. I mean, most of my time is going to be spent sitting on the dock anyway, so it was just, started the procedure, so I wasn't really sure if it was going to happen. So I'm perfectly fine. Really, all I need is the stairs and the dock, to be honest with you.
So that 12 feet, is that 12 feet wide or 12 feet out and 31 feet wide?
It's 12 feet wide, and it goes out 31.
It sticks 31 feet out into the water?
Yeah, just a couple of feet stick on top of the ground.
Right,
Probably,
yeah.
probably a little less than that.
Yeah, okay.
But a question to the chair, to someone from DEP, isn't that a different permit, like a dock, even though it is a floating dock? Isn't that a different?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody, that the town even has anything, like any bylaw or anything like that for docks. I mean, 90% of the people that have a house on the lake have docks, and nobody's ever been, I mean, these people are coming in front of us and doing the right thing. Everybody else just puts them in.
Thank you.
So I've never heard of any policing of docks and the dock police coming out and making anybody take them down. So I don't know.
How many new docks have been installed in the last 5-10 years on the lake?
I bet you there's been 10 or 15.
Wow.
I mean, everybody that's redoing their houses over there and rebuilding, now these new docks that they're coming out with, these aluminum docks, they're like that. This one here, so it's 31 feet, long. I mean, it's huge, and it's basically it's eliminating them from having to dig out the shoreline, which is a big bonus for us. But again, I don't know if that would be something you would have to go to the building department for. Where it's not a permanent structure. I think it's a state permit needed for a dock.
I think it's a 40, I forget what it is. It's a state permit needed for a dock.
This is Judy Schmidt.
That might be a state thing, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, we have a representative from DEP on the line.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in for other things at this hearing, but there is a Chapter 91 permitting process for all docks on Great Ponds. There is kind of a blanket general permit as long as you meet certain specifications. But when you receive your file number for this, there probably will be a comment on there directing you to check with the Chapter 91 permitting program for the dock. There's specifications that they're not allowed to obstruct boats and things like that, which just certainly wouldn't. I believe the square footage limit is 600 square feet for the general permit. The only problem that this one may have is the width, but I'm not an expert in that program.
Oh, great! Thank you very much. That nice to have you on here. So that answers the question on that. So that will be something that would be state regulated. So I guess we can let that move. That can move on. What? Any other questions from anybody on anything else? Do you have any comments about what they're looking to do here?
Peter, with another question here. What is your proposed 5-foot wide stairs? How are you going to build those? Usually you want them set in concrete or on footings, or how do you build Are those wooden stairs? Have you given thought to how you're going to do that?
Yeah, I want them to be natural stone, either granite or stone and bluestone. There'd be no
You're
footing.
just gonna put them into the banking.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
I have a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Deb Fox. I live across the street and I have a beautiful view of the lake and I want to know why he needs to put in a 31.5-foot dock. Everybody else's dock in the lake is not that big. I don't want to be looking at a dock with a boat. So why does it have to be so big?
You asking me or?
I'm asking the gentleman that's putting it in.
That's me.
Okay, there's no pictures on here, so there's only 2 people that I can see their faces.
Okay. I'm Rick, so I'm the person putting the dock in. So the boat itself is 22 feet long.
Okay,
Okay, just same boats that you see going around the lake, pontoon boat, and there's 24-foot boats on the lake.
it's just an eyesore that I don't want to look at.
Folks, you need to,
Well, listen, hold on here. We're not gonna go back and forth like this.
I mean, Mendon is a beautiful town. The lake is, everybody's got their docks that are very small. And
Yeah.
from the point of where you're putting it, it's gonna be right smack dab, right in the middle of this, looks like inlet right there.
No, the inlet's way over to the other side.
I still don't know
This is
why.
actually gonna be closer, this is gonna be closer to the ballroom.
Yes. It's kind of in the middle.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out from the plans, where everything is going. I tried to get a copy of this, but wasn't able to. This is the first I'm seeing of it.
Bill, can you scroll to
Zoom that
page
plan out, Bill,
24?
so we can see the whole area.
Or scroll to page 24 of the PDF.
on the NOI, Carl,
Yeah,
24.
page 24.
Right here, the map. Okay,
So this gives a better, you can now switch back and forth between this and the plan, and you can see that it's not, the dock is not going to be blocking the inlet.
Where's Route 16 on here? I'm very confused as
See,
to what this is.
right. Well, this is Nipmuc Drive over here.
Okay, so that's the drive. That's
So
that
Route
road.
16 would be up along, see this cove right here? Can you see that? Where my cursor is?
Yes.
Right here, right here. Okay, so if we go over to, let's see, I need to switch to over here. So that cove, that would be this area right here. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, isn't it, whoops, sorry. Wouldn't the dock be right in here somewhere?
I can't see your cursor.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to
Oh, you're
paint.
probably gonna go further down, Bill.
Yeah,
further down.
more in front of the house, right?
Yeah, right in front of the house there.
Right in here somewhere. Whoops, sorry.
Yes.
You go
See,
in
and
that
I-
cove, it's all, you can't
Hey,
even
more
bring a boat in that cove.
On the
It's all
plan.
weeds.
That's too far over. It's even further towards the yellow section of the plan.
Okay, like in here.
Oh, there it goes.
Here, I'm gonna switch back to the plan so you can see the house.
There you go, zoom out
Yeah,
on
you-
that.
Yeah,
There
you're,
you go.
zoom in.
You see where we are here?
Yeah, you're
You see,
right, 'cause see, it's over to the right of the house. Sorry to interrupt you.
If you know the property, and you see there's a little wood, like that holds
Yeah, the pump
up wood in the backyard. You can see that. You know, it's on
Yeah,
the
I see it.
property. It's basically to the right of that, down the hill.
So it's gonna be on the other side by Grandview?
Yeah, it's closer to that.
Correct.
Close.
Have you ever seen the wood things down near the bank? It's like this, somebody built like a thing that holds wood for the fire pit. Kind of sits there by itself. It looks like a little roof on it. It has a couple of posts sticking up. Right at the banking. It's closer to the, if you went to
Yeah,
the,
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And if you went to the right side of that towards the ballroom, that's where it would be. That's exactly where the stairs would be.
Thank you. Any other questions?
What would your thoughts be about the dock turning in the other direction? I'm asking that to
I
the,
mean, if you went 31 feet long, 12 feet out,
yeah,
personally, I think you would be better off, because when we ski, we come around that corner and we
Yeah.
ski, and everybody, the kid, the tubes and everything are always, I'm not saying they're 30 feet away, that we get any closer than 30 feet, but just
No.
to be on the safe side, if it doesn't hurt you, it might be safer.
yeah, it's 30, it sounds like a lot, 30 feet, but when you take something 30 feet and put it
No, I
on,
understand.
it looks like nothing, you know what I mean? But I'm okay with turning it. I mean, the whole idea of the dock is to go and enjoy the lake and dock the boat there. And the boat's gonna be there,
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
I
So,
mean, if you put the 12-foot dock out and then you put the boat on it, it's still gonna be out there anyway, so six
I
one,
agree.
half dozen of the other, you're
I
still
agree.
gonna have, so, I mean, maybe where you are over there, I think being out 31 feet is not the end of the world.
Right. I mean, I agree. If I put it out 12 feet and the boat ends up going out another 10 feet off the dock, then
Yeah, exactly, the boat's gonna be wide, you're still
One of
out
the
there, you're out more.
one of the reasons for putting the dock out further into the water is the depth of the water as well. The water, you put bringing a boat in,
Yeah, right, exactly.
shoreline, where all the rocks are.
Yep, and I agree, I mean, whichever way there, I think it really isn't gonna matter.
Damon, you're fading out. Could you move closer to the mic?
I said, well, either way with the dock, really, I don't think it's gonna matter, because if you put the boat on it, or you put the dock, either way, it's gonna be out there. So 31, like you said, 31 feet really is it's not that far out. But once you put a couple of feet on the shoreline,
Right.
now you're down under 30, so I mean,
It's not
I guess, is there any other questions or any other comments on this? I mean, even from the lady from DEP, do you have any thoughts on this? Okay. Well, is there
About the
a
neighbor.
motion on the table?
Can I ask
I
you a
guess
question?
everybody left the building.
Can I ask a question again? I just want to be clear about the installation of the dock. So is it my understanding that it's not the town that's going to approve it? I just need to get approved from somebody else, or?
From what the lady from DEP just said was, when you do the notice of intent for doing this, getting this all ready, there should be a comment that's gonna come from DEP on, when you get your DEP number and everything, you're filing, it's going to probably point you in the direction to where you gotta go get a permit for your dock, from the state, not from the town.
But this is Judy Schmitz from DP. As part of getting the state permit, you do need to have an order of conditions or a determination from the Conservation Commission. So the town does approve it, and there's just a second permit for the dock specifically. But the Conservation Commission should, approve or deny, the dock at this point. It will be instrumental for them to be able to qualify for the 91 permit.
Is that something that's happened on the lake previously, or is this the first time?
This is the first time.
I asked the question because I've spoken to probably at least 20 people on the lake, and not one of them has ever even applied for a permit for a dock. Not one.
Right, exactly.
And I've had no ramifications. So again, to react to a comment that somebody made earlier is, you have a person that's coming in to pull a permit to do it the right way. And I'll be honest with you, I have a dock scheduled to go in tomorrow. And, that doesn't sound too promising to me, but yet I look around the lake.
This is gonna be approved.
Okay,
And it's gonna go to DEP.
Yeah.
You're coming in front of us for a notice of intent.
right.
So it's gonna be, we're gonna approve it. It's gonna go through the motions. Tomorrow, putting a dock in tomorrow, yeah, it might be a little premature.
Yeah, I don't want
Because
to.
we gotta wait for.
I also, to be honest with you, I want to have more conversation with the neighbor who's concerned about it, just to make sure. No, I don't want to be getting anybody upset either. Just, I just want to make sure they understand what this dock looks like. I mean, I think we sent pictures. I mean, it's not. There's nothing in eyesore. I mean, it's a lake. Lakes have boats on them. I mean, that's what they are, right? They're lakes, so.
All right, Peter Coffin has a question here, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. Did I hear it was going to be a 22-foot boat?
Yes.
And then my question is, okay, how are you going to get the boat from off the road, your driveway, onto the lake?
We have permission from the managers and owners of the venue next door. We didn't even ask. They actually came and knocked on the door and told us they were moving their trailer, and they have a boat launch, and we're welcome to use the boat launch anytime we want. And then we emailed them again to confirm again, make sure we had the information from the right people. They said, absolutely, you can use it anytime you want. We told them, okay. They have a gate there. They said, just open the gate. It's not locked. And then back the boat in. Put that boat in.
Okay. So that's how you're getting the boat there. Good. I would just want a little more detail. How you're getting from the house? Is it grass now? Is it going to be crushed stone? Is it going to be? I'm sure you'll do a nice job with the stairs.
Yeah, we're not touching the grass at all. Just walking in our yard. We use our yard every day. We have pets and kids.
That's going to be grass all the way to the stairs, you're saying?
I don't even want to take a tree down. I mean, that's really not what I'm looking for. Like when I first moved into the house, I know I had a phone call with this board about removing trees. It was kind of a preliminary thing, but since we moved in, I actually like the trees. I like the privacy of the trees. I mean, a lot of them fall back. To be honest with you, we probably lost. They're laying down there right now over the winter. Every time we have a windstorm, some of these small, because they're only 6-inch caliber trees and they're rooted into most likely ledge. And so they're not very deep rooted. I think when we get heavy winds, they're laying on the ground. You can see there's some laying in the lake right now. Laying right into the lake. Big pine trees are completely uprooted. There's been a couple smaller maples and oaks that are, probably 20 years old with that, with small calipers on them that are just laying over. So you can, if you watch this place, you get a lot of wind on the lake. If you watch the trees blowing, you get even a day like today. Sometimes I go out and I'm like, look, there's a tree laying down again. You can see the roots and everything. They pull right out of the ground. So, I mean, I prefer to leave everything I can. I think I kind of, clearing the area in the beginning, was kind of let's put it all on there just in case, because I didn't know what was going to happen. But I mean, honestly, I can guarantee it 99 out of 100% of the time, we're going to be sitting on the dock. The dock has a couple chairs on it, that type of thing. And it's, I just want to enjoy the lake. That's it.
Right, and I don't deny that you want to enjoy the lake, and I think we all want everyone to enjoy the lake. I'm just a little worried about docks proliferating and getting longer and longer. And yeah, it worries me if we've gotten 10 new docks on the lake that no one has mentioned. Are they also floating? So it's going to take further discussion. So I will move it along if that's what you need, I guess, is a motion to approve it, even though I don't really think you need such a wide dock nor such a long one, but I will let others who know better tell you what you need, I guess.
Right.
So.
Carl Hummel, second.
Yeah, I mean, all right. All in favor?
Carl Hummel,
Roll
yes.
call.
Tim, yes.
Damon, yes. All right. All good. Thank you. And this will go to DEP, and once Bill gets everything back, if there's any comments from DEP, which is probably going to be, well, the way that I'm hearing from the nice young lady from DEP, that we are, it's just a formality. You're not having a 600 square foot dock out there.
Right.
All right. So you're not gonna go over the,
What happens if we put the dock in? Can I ask that question?
You're
Yeah.
running a
I
risk
mean,
that the installers might do something that goes against the chapter 9 or 9 something. But if they're used to putting docks in, they're probably going to follow the permitting rules.
Okay, all right. Well, all right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
thank you, have a good day.
So, bye.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Thank
do I understand that motion is subject to DEP comments for the file number?
Yes, yep. And then, yep. Whatever we
Okay.
get back, we'll give to them, and that's the bet we do. We're just doing what we can do, and that's it.
Okay, so I know I think I can tell you who's present for the remainder of these items. The gentleman, the owner of 29 Maury Street is with us. The highway surveyor is with us. I think Chief Kessler is with us as well. And then we have some other business to take care of. Mr. Chairman.
Alan, what do you got?
Hi, this is Alan. We're gonna be, Dan Byer, one of the Parks Commissioners, approached me about doing some drainage in front of the town beach to alleviate the constant washing of the beaches washing out and going into the lake. So, and then the fire chief approached me at the same time, and they want to, there's a little alley at the right side of the beach that goes down to the lake. It's a small little boat landing for walking canoes and kayaks in. And the chief asked me if it was possible to make it so that a fire truck could back in there. He actually took one of the fire trucks into the beach area onto the tennis court, and he was able to draft water out of the beach, which is a good thing because we have no hydrants in the area. And so I got together with him. We looked at, the area in question, and it appears to me that we can just fill in the area that he's talking about with some pervious material, impervious, whatever, so the water will go through it. It won't be asphalt, so we'll fill it in with like a 3-inch gravel type substance and top it with grindings so that the fire trucks come back down there. And then he would do something to be able to have the trucks back in and draft out of the lake the water. And the part that I'm talking about that I want to do for the town to stop the beach wearing out is that we want to put I was thinking about putting a Cape Cod berm, but years ago when I first started, we put 100 feet of granite laying down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stand the granite up, put some granite curbing along there, cut a straight line along the fence here, which is 200 feet long, stand the granite up, make a couple entrances, and put in 2 catch basins and a manhole to tie into the drain that goes into the lake already. And so by doing this, it'll stop a lot of silt and washout from, destroying the beach. So that's my plan. Dan has a plan. I don't know if he shared it with the Conservation Commission or not, but it's very simple. It's not a big deal.
Any questions? Alan, actually, I have a question. How far down, I know we talked about this already, but how far down are you gonna be doing the work? How far are you gonna be away from the shoreline?
It's gonna go down about as far as the tennis court. So my guess would
Just enough
be
room to get a fire truck off the road?
75 from the lake, probably 75 or 75 to 100 feet away from the lake.
This is Bill Kessler, the fire chief.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, so the driveway would go down to, as Alan said, by that tennis court. From when we were there drafting, that's going to be about 60 feet from the very end of that drive down to the lake. Our plans for the drafting would be to have a 60-foot 6-inch section of suction hose along that fence line that would end before the lake. And then when we needed to use the drafting, we would just slide a 20-foot piece and extend it on into the lake. So anything that the fire department would be doing would not, number one, we don't need to do any digging in the lake, and two, we wouldn't leave anything protruding into the lake. As well as our use of that driveway, Dan Byer had talked about, they were trying to put some canoe racks down along that walkway. So this would also serve as kind of a loading and unloading for canoes and kayaks. Temporary parking to get it off and then bring the car across the street.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem. Anybody on the board have any issues with this?
Peter, here, just a quick question. Is there a gate on it now? Would we have to put up a gate? Are you worried about stuff at night? I don't know.
I mean, it's accessible now.
Yeah, my understanding is that's a deeded access to the lake for people along Path Ave. There are a couple of lolly columns there to block vehicles from going down. Those lolly columns will be moved down to the end of the driveway so that you couldn't get a vehicle closer than that 60 feet to the lake. It's a 60-foot section of hose, which would be very hard to try and move. And I'd like to put it right at the base of the chain link fence that's there now, and maybe cover it up with some of the mulch material that's been put down, so it's just not as visible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, what Alan and you are trying to do here is benefiting every homeowner in town that's close to the lake, where if you need water, you can get it quickly and easily. So, I guess the board's going to have to make a decision on how you want to go with this. Are you actually coming in for a request for determination, or what are your?
What I would like is I would like to be able to put a DEP number up there, so when we're working over there, that people going by just don't think we're just willy-nilly and doing work on the lake.
Okay, it'd be good to get some comments from DEP anyway. So, so we should do a notice of intent then.
I believe so.
Okay, do you have some sort of an engineered plan, or is this something that's just sketched out on a piece of paper?
I have somewhat of an engineered plan for the portion of the road work. I do not have anything for what I want to do for the fire department. I don't know if Bill has anything.
It sounds like you have enough that if you could sketch in what the fire department wants to place their pipe, and then which part would be temporary, we should be able to approve that with an order of conditions.
Yeah,
that should be not a big deal at all.
What you're going to use for material and stuff, whether it's recycled asphalt or, gravel, just note it on the plan when you draw that section of the work that's going to be done to get access down that road, that piece, that walking path. as we can call it now,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, so my intention, the material that I would put for a base would be probably 3-inch minus gravel, something that's pretty coarse, something that will drain water, something that won't wash out, and then I would want to top it with asphalt grindings and then compact it.
Yeah, understood. All right, so yeah, so Bill, I guess we'll put together, a notice of intent. There's gonna
I
be an
will
approval here.
get together with the chief next week and just give some kind of sketch and make a couple of notes on what I have, and I can either email it. I can probably email it right to Bill.
Yeah, that would
Bill
be great,
McHenry.
and then he could get it out to the board so we can look at it quickly.
Correct. Does that sound okay?
Good to me. Everybody else okay with that?
Chief, you good with that?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
The board, Peter, you okay with that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, is there a motion on the table?
I'll
Do you
move
need,
to approve the
sorry,
concept, subject to a submittal of a formal plan.
Okay. Is there a second?
Emilio was there
Who's
with a
that?
second. That was Emilio
Emilio?
with a second, yep.
All in favor, Damon, aye?
Tim, I.
Peter, I.
All right.
Emilio, Carl,
Yeah, that was a yes.
I think Emilio second.
yeah, Amelia, I heard him this time too. Yeah, Alan and Bill, you can either just send me what you have, or I can just send you the form and you can even pencil in, your first stab at filling out the form, and then I can formalize that for you.
Perfect.
It can be,
Alrighty.
it can be pretty simple for sure.
Super.
Simple is good.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right, so the breaching of the Beaver dams near Kelly Road, we already took care of that, didn't we, Bill?
No, well, we need, if I might, Mr. Chair, I think we have the property owner from 29 Maury still hanging here to,
Okay, we can take care of him, yep.
yep. Are you there, sir?
I'm still here.
Okay, great. Thank you for waiting.
So we're getting, I mean, I'm sure you know that we got some, I haven't been by the site, but I've gotten a lot of comments about what's going on up there, and I really, running a business from there is really not our situation, but, there was a lot of wetlands in that back property. Just trying to see the water's getting diverted and running. I don't know what's going on back there. If there's a lot of filling going on or what's been going on, but I grew up across the street. I know there was a lot of wetlands on that.
A lot of it's
back
coming
property.
from Park Street.
Park Street?
Yeah, Mr. Palumbo's land. That's where a lot
This
of the
is
water
29
comes from.
Maury Street, right?
That's correct.
Park Street's a long ways away.
My land abuts it, that property.
Right. Well, the wetlands go the way that they go, and we can't change them.
Right. Right. I already had my land surveyed, and I had a land scientist come in and probe it. We already had it flagged and everything. He's complaining. The neighbor's complaining more than anything.
Yeah, he's complaining that you're running a business out of there.
Yeah, well, I already have a court date with the town on the 30th of this month.
Okay.
And then I have a
Do
court
you have
date
any
with
plans?
him.
Do you have any plans that show, any engineered plans that show the property so that if we were to come out there and do a site walk, you can show us exactly where the wetlands were and are and the soil samples and everything? Do you have all that?
They're flagged out.
Right, but
The
where
wetlands.
did he do the core, the coring?
I would have to look back in my email to see exactly where. I did last time I talked to you guys. It was last year. I did bring in the map and drawing of what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember the last time we all sat down. The only difference
I
now,
remember.
yeah, the only difference now is I put a 15-foot high berm up.
Right, it's all cleared, all in that whole back area, right?
It was cleared last time too.
And hauling stumps and wooden and stuff like that, and all that
Yeah.
is.
That was cleared last time too.
But the hauling of stumps and wood and stuff in and out of the site is probably gonna.
I haven't been hauling anything out.
I said
those
in.
Stumps,
Sorry.
those stumps, I'm looking to get ground up.
Yeah.
Trying to have a company come in and grind them all on site. They are all pulled. They're just in a pile.
Yeah, no, I know. They've been hauling them in. Yeah.
Not stumps, logs, burning.
Oh, okay.
Wood. Burn. That's the only wood that gets hauled in is just wood to burn. That's it.
Okay.
Peter
all right.
Coffin with a quick question, Mr. Chairman, if you, that the berms that were brought in, installed, or built, are they further than 100 feet from the wetland?
Further away, no.
How close are the berms to the wetlands?
They're in the wetland.
They're probably 25 feet from the flags.
And did we say that that was a good idea, that you could bring in fill or build a berm within 25 feet of the wetland?
You guys didn't mention anything.
Didn't mention anything about cutting, filling, or doing work within 100 feet of a wetland?
Nope.
No, we just agreed
No,
where
we
the
didn't know that he
wetland
was
flags
doing
were.
that, Peter. We didn't know that.
Good.
I had everything there last year when we all spoke.
You had everything there except the berms.
The only difference was the berm that I put up. That was it.
Yeah.
Right on my property line.
2 feet on, 2 feet off the property line, or is it on the property line?
On the property line.
Yeah.
Well, I got
that stuff there is going
I
to
got
be.
boulders along the side.
Yeah. That's not going to really be. That's going to be a zoning situation, not anything to do with us. Our problem is the wetland situation. So it seems to be.
The only reason why the berm was up is because this guy keeps filming my kids and me on my property. So
yeah.
The reason why I put the berm up, I was never going to put a berm up at all. But I do have a bunch of trees that got dropped off. I do plan on eventually putting a tree farm. That's the whole point of why I cleared it out. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about that last year.
I know, but there's a big pile of gravel in there and a screener.
Right, which there's no screener. It was at one point because I was sifting it.
Right.
There's no screener anymore. That was just a manual screener. That was just something I just loaded with the skid steer. There's no motor on it or anything like that.
But you're in the buffer zone.
That pile is in the buffer zone.
Yeah. So you do know what's going on because you know where the buffer zone is. So, I guess what we really do, we just gotta. There's just a big problem with this. I mean, unfortunately, you're in the, you're in the limelight right here. So, between the cars and trucks in and out of there, early morning.
I mean, I can have as many cars as
landscape
I want coming in and out of there.
Yeah, but you can't run a business out of there.
I'm not. My business is moved to Uxbridge. I don't sell anything out of there. I don't, and my stuff has all been moved to Uxbridge.
Yeah.
My trucks come there in the morning. I mean, I'm allowed to have my trucks come there in the morning. So
That's like I said, that's what you're gonna have to deal with the town on that end of it.
yeah, I have that on Friday.
But
next Friday.
having all that dirt in the buffer zone, that's a no-go.
Well, that big pile that's in the middle, I plan on getting rid of.
Yeah, I mean, that's all gonna be cleaned up. It should be back to natural vegetation. It shouldn't even have been touched unless you came in front of us and got approval from DEP.
We discussed this last year. Nothing was said.
We never discussed anything about putting a pile of dirt, storing gravel or loam 100 feet in the buffer zone. We never discussed that. So, I mean, all that stuff is, if you want to, I mean, what's that?
Oh, I lost you for a second. All I heard was gravel.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna have to, we need to we'll see the plans, and that material is gonna have to be moved off, out of the buffer zone, unless you're gonna come in and file.
Well, I mean, I definitely can move that. It's just going to take a little bit to move it.
Well, I think that what you need to do is probably, when are you supposed to be meeting with the town?
Next Friday, the 30th.
Okay, so maybe, and I don't know what the board thinks, but I mean, maybe we should see what the town is gonna, put together here, and we can try to work this all together, so you're not doing one thing and then, having to do another. Let's try to work together with the selectmen or whoever's gonna be in charge of that.
Well, I'm going to court on the 30th for the violation that was put in place back in November. So this is a continuance of the violation.
Oh, what was that for?
The equipment, the trucks and trailers that were stored on property.
Okay. Well, I mean, having material in the buffer zone, and using it as a stockyard, and
Well, the stuff that you see when you drive by, that big pile, was to build the berm. And that was to block the creep out from next door. So
yeah, the creep out it lives in a residential area.
Right.
He's just probably a little frustrated that he's got a gravel pit in his backyard. I mean, and I know it's your property and you can do what you want with it, but where you're in the buffer zone is where it becomes a situation with the Wetlands Protection Act. And you know where it is because you just told us you knew where it was, where the buffer zone is. So, what needs to happen from our end is it needs to be put back the way it was. Or you have to come in and file and come with a set of plans and give us what you're doing there. But leaving a pile of dirt and using it and bringing stuff in and taking stuff out as you need it on a job site is not considered a legitimate excuse.
I'm not using that as an excuse at all, but I don't use that for job sites.
Whatever you're doing, like I said, whatever you're doing with it is okay. It's none of our business. But if it's in the buffer zone, then it can't be there.
Nope, I understand that.
So what does anybody else have to stay here on the board?
Well, so Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't think he should be doing anything else until he files. Don't be moving any more dirt around if he's within 25 feet of the buffer zone. So maybe he should just come up with an order of conditions and list on that order of conditions, what his plans are and what has been done already. You know, if he has an engineer already, they can help him along with the filing. And then
Yeah.
either restoring the buffer zone that was maybe destroyed, or I don't know. If it's all delineated now, it's pretty clear. I mean, he can have it designed to what he's doing and restore it. And I don't, did he say he was taking down the berm?
Nope.
The berm's like a bunch of loom tailings, rock and everything. It's just, and he's got that there so that the neighbor can't be, videoing what's going on over there or whatever.
Okay. All right. Well,
giving him a hard time.
Okay. So he's working in the
He's
buffer
not
zone.
planning on taking that down, I guess.
Well, he's working in the buffer zone now. He should file and get up a silt fence, with on a plan and showing, what's been disturbed or, what's remaining and come up with a plan to do it the right way before he starts moving
Correct.
dirt around again.
Yep. You agreeable to that, sir?
Yeah.
Who do you use for an engineer? Hello?
Someone was speaking. I couldn't hear him.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's not on here anymore.
I'm still here.
And this is 29 Maury Street?
Yep. 29 Maury Street. I'm still here.
Okay, so who do you use for an engineer?
For the plan, I didn't use any engineer. All I had was a land scientist and then someone to come out and survey my land.
And that was a engineer that did that or a surveyor?
Survey.
Is that somebody local?
No, they're out of Westboro or Southboro.
Okay, well, probably should get somebody that can come out and I don't know if you want to use, I mean, what was the name of the company in Westboro?
I'd have to go back and look. On my email.
I mean, maybe he could help you with that, but you're gonna have to come up with some sort of a,
I think it was Gardner. Gordon.
Oh, Goddard.
Yeah.
Goddard. Okay.
Yeah, so you need to locate, you gotta bring them out there and have them locate all the delineation onto a plan.
Yeah, he said he can do a buffer zone, the 100 foot, 50 foot, 25 foot, and then give I forget what the word he used, but give the locations of each and what everything like location of where everything's at.
Yeah.
And then he can file an NOI for you.
Yeah. Something. He did mention something that he could set up a form for me. So, work within the wetlands itself. Because I did speak to head of the commission in Massachusetts, and she gave me a form to work within the wetlands if I need to clear it, and then come in front of you guys to get it approved. But I told her I didn't need to work in the wetlands, like clear any wetland. I was only working near the buffer.
In the buffer.
Yes.
In the buffer, yeah. So Goddard will be able to just tell him that you need to, that the board, the town amended and conservation wants, you have to do an NOI and come up with a restoration plan of what you're gonna do out there where you already were, cleared all the wetland, the buffer zone and put something together. I wouldn't do any more work and have any more equipment out in that buffer zone anywhere near it until we get everything approved here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing, just dirt out there right now.
Understood, but that's what I mean, as long as but you can't be out there working and running equipment in the buffer zone until you get everything approved here and moving any dirt.
I'm sure Goddard could advise you on what you can and can't do.
Yeah, they know very well what's right and what's wrong. you want to figure out what your plans are with them, and then you can get back on the agenda with us, and we'll get you going as quick as possible so you can get your move on with this.
Yeah, I can give him a call tomorrow and see what's his availability to come out. Get
Okay,
plan to get it submitted to you guys.
that'll be great. And as soon as, if you can, once you figure out what his plans are, can you please just give a call to the conservation office and just let them know that, you know, he's coming out this date and, you know, blah, 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 and we'll try to move forward on this as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, thank you, have a good night.
You too.
Bill, what else we got here?
Okay, so we need to ratify those two Beaver Dam
dams?
permits, the one for Kelly Road and the one that came in from the Board of Health for 68 Maury. That was originated from the utility company. But anyway, for a motion on both of those separately would be great.
Carl Hummel, I move that we ratify the emergency certification for breaching the Beaver Dam at 16 Kelly.
Peter Coffin seconds.
All in favor? Damon Tenio, aye.
Carl Hummel, yes.
Tim Icardi, yes.
Leo, yes.
Peter
Great.
Coffin, yes.
Go for it, Carl.
Okay. Carl Hummel, I move that we ratify the National Grid Beaver Dam permit application for 68 Maury.
Peter Coffin seconds.
All in favor? Damon
Carl
Tenio,
Hummel,
aye.
yes. Carl Hummel, yes.
Tim Icardi, yes.
Peter Coffin, yes.
Thank you. Okay, and if you want to pick it up now, I posted the conservation restriction for 131 North Ave. I believe Mrs. Mazar might be on the line, but I think this is a completed document that just needs to be accepted by the Concom.
Yeah, I'm online. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this is the conservation restriction that we've been working on for several years, and it's come before the board. Do you have any questions?
I can put it up on the screen, but it's all text. It's in the online folder with all of our documents.
It's the property that is on the corner of Hopedale Street and North Ave, 131 North Avenue. And it's owned by Gary Smith's nonprofit, the Shirley Jean Smith Agricultural and Arts Center. And the restriction says the top half can be used for farming and the bottom half is open space. Has to remain open space. All of it can stay open space. And that there's a footprint for putting a barn on the site. And the Conservation Commission would be holding the conservation restriction.
I'm all in favor of accepting the easement. Sounds like a lot of work has been done on it over time.
And did you have the specific wording of the motion that should be made?
I mean, it's to accept the conservation restriction at 131 North Avenue. Wait a minute, let me look. I didn't.
What I wrote down was approve and accept.
Yeah, I think that didn't I send you the language from the?
Yeah, that's what I took from.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And then once it's approved, I'll write this on the conservation restriction. But the document is at the town hall. It needs to be notarized by the Concom members. So you guys would need to stop by town hall and sign it at some point in the near future.
This
It's
is
in the
Peter
mailbox.
Kaufman. I'll make a motion to accept the conservation restriction for 131 North Avenue.
Carl Hummel, second.
All in favor? Damon, aye.
Carl, yes.
Tim, yes.
Peter, yes.
Yes.
And the question, Ann, was where do you find it at town hall?
So when the town clerk is there, she has it. And so she can have you sign it and notarize it at the town clerk's office.
Okay, we'll stop and see her. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And do you
Okay,
also
have a good night.
know, does the town clerk need something that, you know, like a copy of our minutes or something like that that certifies the vote?
That would be a good idea. I mean, at least,
I'll ask.
I mean, I don't think she needs that. I will just tell her the date of the meeting so that she can fill in the signature page with that information.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bill, maybe just shoot her an email, let her know that we did move to accept it, and just to keep everybody on the same page.
Thank you, I will.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
What do we got next here?
So the Lake Nipmuc treatment, you have two proposals in front of you, one from Solitude, one from, what's it called?
Wetlands and water.
Yeah, wetlands, water, folks from Upton. And at some point in the very near future, the commission needs to select one of those select among those from those contracts, and so whoever we award it to can start with the permitting, so they can stay on schedule for this year and get the treatment done, you know, early in the season.
Where are the quotes?
They are in the document folder, you know, for the meeting. I can,
Okay.
if you need, right.
We got numbers on them. Where are we at with that?
Yes. So the guy from Solitude presented kind of like an a la carte menu that you could pick which treatments, which things you wanted this year.
Well, the thing is, we don't know what we want. That's why we have company. We don't know what needs to be done there because we're not in the water quality business.
Yeah, well,
I do know that the two.
Go ahead.
The two gentlemen that are opened up that business, the wetlands and water, worked for Solitude for years, and one of them maintained that lake.
Right.
When he worked for Solitude, and we worked there probably for, I don't know if it's the last 10 or 12 years or whatever it was, but he was in charge of Lake Nipmuc every year.
Right, and they're aware of what's going on.
If anybody
with the
has a
SCP
good
project.
handle on it, it would be him if the numbers are working in order.
Yeah. I was just going to say.
So was their price low, or what? How did they compare to the most minimum price that we got from the others? I'd rather go with a new team, but
yeah, I mean they are, you know, a little smaller bit company, and like I said, they know the lake. They've been working on the lake for a long time.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they're well aware of the. So I put it up on the screen.
Okay.
So they're well aware of what's going on with the SCP plan.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't share that information with Solitude yet. In all fairness, Solitude came in not knowing exactly what to propose, and so they offered that a la carte. And then, Mr. Chairman, you told them basically, you know, that we were looking to stay within budget, and I think they addressed that, but you still would have to pick from their options. So I'm going to scroll down.
Yeah,
It's $4,500. The proposal from water and wetland, and I'm just gonna scroll down here and see if there was anything more to say about it. 4250, or no, 4250 plus 250 for the permit.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of detail. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I mean, right, we have the money, the money that we're getting, the donation or whatever, the fine money from,
Yeah, that
Route
benefactor.
85. Well, is that money gonna be able to be used for this, Carl?
No.
None of that
Carl,
money is able to use.
This is money that has to be approved at town meeting, and we run into the problem where it's split between the years, and sometimes they've been able to, you know, pre-bill us or post-bill us.
Yeah.
But
So what
I
do
think
we,
I'm
what do we
liking that
have in
number.
there?
4,500 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we have in there for money allocated for,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may. So, the whole thing about fiscal year and calendar year, if we split it up with fiscal year, then it would be, you know, it's easier if we can actually bill it kind of like by the season, you know what I mean? Like for the summer season.
Yeah.
So I've talked this over with the Solitude before, and we basically elected to just leave it as a calendar year item with the understanding that we're not going to be able to pay them anything until July 1. And then, you know, that's going to fall into our next fiscal year. And then regarding the, I'm sorry, what was the other issue? Oh, the money, the budget. Right now, it's lumped together as one line item between Inman Pond and Lake Nipmuc. And so there's like $11,000 in there.
Okay.
And we've been receiving about $8,000 gift, if you will, from a benefactor to take care of Inman. So those funds are commingled, if you will. So we could say that we can afford this.
Okay. I guess I agree with Peter, and I feel the same way about these guys. I mean, like I said, the only reason why I feel comfortable with them is because they were the actual grunts out in the field doing the work, and they know what's going on out there, and what's been going on out there for the last 10 years and what needs to be done to address it. So, I guess if everybody's is agreeable to, you know, wetlands and water, let's make a motion to get the ball rolling here so we can get that, they can get their permitting in place, and so we don't lose out for the June, you know, the mid to end of June treatment.
I'll make a motion to approve a bid of $4,500 for Lake Nipmuc invasive nuisance plan from Water and Wetland.
Carl Hummel, second.
All in favor? Damon Tenio, aye.
Carl Hummel, yes.
Tim Icati, yes.
Peter Coffin, yes.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Okay, let's see here. Meeting minutes and set some meeting dates. And if you want to talk about it, well, let's do it now if you want to talk about it. So I received the invoice from Bruce Roy, and there's still a question about whether the work is really completed, and I'm not sure, you know, what the next step is of that or how much we have to chase that, but someone had suggested that we either pay it partially or get him back to discuss how to finish the job. It appears that my take on it, at least, is that he probably got into stuff around the perimeter that was really well overgrown and will probably require chainsaw work. I think it's going to require a site visit to see. But it's not trimmed out to the perimeter that, you know, technically it should be. So I don't know if you want me to take any action on that invoice or hold it or meet with him or how you want to handle it.
Maybe he can get on the call with us at the next meeting, or I mean, I don't know, who was saying that he didn't go where he needed to go, Patrice?
Yeah, she took a walk out there with some GPS software and walked the perimeter of the area that was mowed and compared it to the, she's got software that can compare it to the, to the mapped borders.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
This is Peter Coffin, and I don't know if Carl, you have any comments, but my sense is he did the work in good faith.
Right.
He probably didn't
Correct.
do all that needed to be done, but that's going to be a messy argument between us, Patrice, and Fish and Wildlife. I think he should get paid at least 50% for what he did, and remain to see what's going to happen.
It's after April 15th, and there's a no disturb between April 15th and the fall. So even if we make an agreement that we should have a discussion on paying him for 50%, 75%, and then reserving the rest until the fall. But that's something else we should be discussing with the interested parties.
The only thing is, I mean, he was asked to go in there with a brush hog and cut an area. A brush hog, I mean, I don't know, from what I'm just going by what Bill's saying, if it gets to a certain area where it's so overgrown and it's got, 3-6 inch trees growing out of it, you're not gonna cut that with a brush hog. So,
Right.
I mean, if that's the case, then we were gonna go in there and start cutting trees down, then $5,000 is gonna be $8,000.
Yeah, and we did discuss how anything that was considered a tree at this point we would leave up. So,
Okay,
so
so, I
again,
mean-
that's something else we'd want to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna leave this guy hanging until the fall and not paying him, because he did what he was supposed to do, but I mean, you get to a certain point, and then if you can't get in there with your mower, I mean, how far do you go? I mean, before he's there for 2 more days, cutting trees down and dragging, now you gotta get a skidder to drag the trees out, or a chipper to chip everything. I mean, $5,000 nowadays doesn't go far.
I didn't see any email from Patrice, but I may have missed it. Did she say what percentage of the work was incomplete?
She sent a detailed map and was around the edges. It was at least 10%, but the bulk of it was done. I would make a motion to pay 75% of the bill that he submitted.
Carl Hummel, second.
We'll work about it later.
I know, it's easy for us to worry about it later, but the guy that's not getting paid, it's not easy for him to worry about it later. I mean, everybody kind of sent him in there and said, oh, nobody wanted, they gave him a GPS, I mean, a colored map. I mean, if the trees are trees, you don't go in there, you don't mow trees. You mow to the tree line, and then that's it. You call it a day.
Right. He was there less than 2 days, so I think 75 at least will pay his expenses and a lot of profit, and we can.
That's not the deal, though, Pete. The deal was.
Well, he didn't do all that was contracted. If the area was, so I don't know. Now we're going to get into could he cut that with a brush cutter? Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's you know what. Should have just stayed right out of it, and it wouldn't have been an issue. Okay, whatever you guys want to do.
Guys, I'm trying to find the photo, but I'll put it in. I'll either email it to you, the image that shows.
If you didn't do 10% of the work, hold 10%.
And before we lose Judy Smith, could we talk about Cape Road? Or I don't know if that owner's around or what the status is.
No, I sent a letter out there. I did not hear back from him. Judy, are you still there with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yes, I was wondering, it sounded like maybe he hadn't shown up, so I was gonna pop off soon myself.
Judy has seen the satellite images, and I'll pop one of those up on the screen. And Peter can easily describe what Judy can verify too.
Well, it's an ugly it's an ugly view of a hillside that's been grubbed and stripped, and it's like preliminary all for industrial subdivision. But there's no detention pond, and they put erosion control at the bottom of the hill, but over the winter it got overpowered by the snow, and then so there's some major wooded wetland that has been covered in silt. I did not explore it a whole lot. But
yeah, if you guys can see the screen, it really shows up on this satellite image, and I don't know when this was taken, but this is straight off of Google Maps.
2021.
Oh, it
So
shows
this
it. Oh, I see it. Thank you. Imagery 2021. Thank you.
So is this something that DEP is going to do an enforcement action, or is this something that the DEP feels the town should do?
Well, there's no order of conditions on 23, so.
Right. Which is the whole point. So
yes.
Right. So we could hire a consultant, go out and document the damages and make them pay for it. But I would rather have them do it. But I'm looking for Judy to. It's really above our skill level. It's a major impact.
If you're aware of an impact, especially if you've seen, if you have observed or have photos of a significant amount of sediment in the wetlands,
yes.
The commission should send out an enforcement order and copy it to us to basically have them do the immediate type of things that need to be done to stop that problem. You could instruct them to hire a consultant, put up erosion controls, do a study of how much wetlands are impacted, and hopefully maybe get a site walk going out there. At that point, if a site walk is arranged, we certainly would want to be party to that. Our enforcement process, while it can be more punitive and involve fines, it is very slow, and there's a number of steps, and then it leaves the town out of that process. So oftentimes, it will take weeks or sometimes months to even send out a document that tells them to stop work and put up erosion control. So by all means, the commission should send out an enforcement order, but if there's significant impacts to the wetland resource, there's a chance that we will piggyback on that and then kind of continue it on, especially if it's a really complicated case. So we're appreciative that you've kind of roped us in so early on this, but don't hesitate to start the enforcement on your own.
Thank you. And
we're happy to take a peek if you write up a draft enforcement order, to make suggestions. What you don't want them to do is have the enforcement order tell them to file a notice of intent to clean up the work, because that will actually slow stuff down. So with an enforcement order, you can make them do things without going through the permitting process. So say if there is sediment in the wetland that is a good idea to investigate and remove by hand, for instance, they can do that work in the wetland with just your enforcement order telling them that they have to do it. And it's much quicker, because then you don't go through the whole hearing process and have to notify butters, and then once they get the order conditions, they could take 3 years to do it. So
when Bill writes up the letter, are you the right person for him to have the draft reviewed by?
He should CC me and Kim Roth, who's the circuit rider,
Right.
because I've been keeping her in the loop with this. And we're really short staffed right now, so we're trying to kind of cover every base, and but at least she's the backup for that. But it shouldn't be it probably shouldn't be a letter at this point, especially if they didn't show up to your meeting when you asked them to, etc.
Yeah, I was writing this letter to an LLC, you know what I mean? It was, well, actually, I did address it to the gentleman on record as the property owner, as in care of the LLC. I have a question now, please. Are we sure that this is the only property that's part of this problem? Because I thought that there might be an issue with the soccer field runoff and other contributing factors. I'm not sure. Does 23 cross over Witten Street? Because there's a scoured out area on both sides of Witten Street. If you can see
23,
it on
I believe, includes both. Witten goes right down the middle. There's
Okay.
a little bit of erosion from the solar panel down to that same corner where they come together, but it's very minor compared to the gross part from above. The soccer fields might be contributing more water into their detention plan, which makes its way down through the solar panels, but there's no erosion there. Can the enforcement order, Judy, be iterative? Do we just jump right to them and ask them to hire an engineer to come up with a plan as to how to fix it, or we don't even tell them that much, or how much?
You can definitely do that. If you're going to go that route, you should be sure that there actually is, sediment in a resource area.
That I'm sure of, but yeah.
Or you're pretty sure there's erosion, so they could definitely hire professionals to install appropriate erosion control. So yeah, you can have a whole list of things that you can make them do. If they oppose your ideas, they have the right to appeal it to Superior Court.
When we discussed this with the solar company during the winter, they had drone aerial photos showing that there was significant silt colored the same as what we're seeing in the picture in the wetland area. So there's photographic evidence that you were talking about.
Right. Yeah, so based on that knowledge, and if they then come into a meeting and say, oh, you're wrong, let's go on a site walk, this is really caused by increased water velocity coming off the soccer field and the solar, it's tearing up our land or something like that, then you can always modify an enforcement order and change it so that it's either stricter or less strict as information comes in. So you're not kind of stuck with that one thing that you ask them to do if conditions change and you have a better idea of how to go with it.
Yeah, I think it is a combination of both properties, because they recently, the soccer field parking lot was not paved, and it wasn't approved in the site plan. It wasn't paved on the site plan, and then I don't know when it happened, but then all of a sudden the parking lot is paved for the soccer field, and the water's going, I think, through the two properties and just contributing to the issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there could be concentrated flow coming off the solar or the soccer that, it's picking up loose material that might have not traveled, but, it is good to, as part of the enforcement order, have them schedule a site walk so, you can all go around. It started raining again recently, so it should be pretty clear where the water's been running. But keep us in the loop. We do get questions. We do get copies of the enforcement order. And if there's a site walk scheduled for it, we would like to jump into that. It gives us the opportunity to collect our own information as far as if it turns out to be something that's pursued as a penalty.
Judy, I'm going to be looking to assemble this like immediately and lean on you for, edits and advice.
Yep.
is it reasonable to try right now with you and the commission to actually schedule a date for a site walk?
You're welcome to schedule it. You know, you would have to have permission from the property owner for all of us to go on the site walk. So, you know, if when you contacted them, you know, none of us can trespass,
Oh,
actually.
right, yeah, right, but I believe you can go down the street and see it.
Oh, is Witten Street a public way?
I would think so, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so? Okay.
Nope.
But I'm certain we could get permission from the homeowner on Talbot Farm Drive who originally brought this to our attention.
I mean, it does look
you're
like.
gonna have to use to get across there, you have to have some waiters.
It does look like number 12 Talbot Farm, the property line extends to the other side of the wetland. I don't know if you have the property lines up on your screen. I can share my screen if you want.
Go ahead.
You could also see it very easily from the corner of the solar panels. They have an order of conditions, so we could see the damage from there. But it would be best to have their permission. So maybe we can all schedule it as soon as we send them a letter. We'll ask for them to schedule a site visit in the next 2 weeks before our next meeting.
Yeah. And can you see this, my screen? Can you see the back
Yes.
of the field? So if material is coming down off of here into the wetlands, you know, it could actually be on that property or possibly in the stream on the property. So that is a possibility.
That would be better to get it from that person's, yes. Because they would be more interested in it, I would think.
But if you are able to, you know, schedule a site walk, you know, when you schedule with them, if you could just request if DEP and you can go, you know, use our name in the written request, we'd appreciate it.
Got it.
What else we have? Do we have anything further business?
Yeah, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do about the Bruce Roy thing? There was a motion with a second, and the motion was to say
So.
Thank you, Judy.
Yep.
Thank you, Judy.
Yep. Keep in touch. Bye.
There's a motion on the table. Was there a second?
Yes, I seconded to pay 75% and then start a conversation with the stakeholders.
I mean, I just feel that this guy went out there and worked 2 days, and he mowed as close to the edge of the land that he could before he was in the trees, in the tree line, and now we're gonna punish him because he couldn't go any further with his tractor.
What are you proposing we pay instead?
I think that we should have a conversation with him at even if we don't pay him anything, having a conversation at the next meeting, or if we're gonna have a site visit, let somebody go down there that either Patrice or, Peter and whoever wants to, take money out of this guy's pocket and say, listen, why didn't you do it the way you were supposed to do it? And if it was because there's 6 or 8 or 10-inch trees in the way, then that's what you got. That's where as far as you're gonna go with it. Unless we're gonna start cutting trees down and stumping to give the, I think we're getting there's a little bit overthinking going on here.
Right, the problem is the contract was probably not clear. It was very clear the area extent that the Fisheries and Wildlife wanted cut 5 years ago. So that plan was used to enter into a contract saying, we want to cut this, clear this with a brush cut. And he probably would have looked at it and said, yeah, I can cut this with a brush cut. And the reality of it came in, okay, no, he could only cut 80%, 90%, I don't know the exact percent, but not all of it. So was there a written description, thou shalt cut everything under 2 inches? I doubt it. So I don't want to disturb anybody. I want everyone to get paid for what they did, but it's unclear. And so it's a little muddy between fisheries, turtle guys who want the moon, trustees of reservations who, or whatever they, Metacomet, who's kind of bird dogging it, and then the town who doesn't really want to maintain it in the first place. So, yeah.
Well, the thing is nobody, Bruce never was involved in this 5 years ago. It was just, he just was nobody else was getting anywhere with anybody. Patrice didn't have anybody. Nobody stepped up to the plate, but this one guy who does work for the town and said, yeah, I'll go do it for you if you don't have anybody. He really didn't even want to do it. I kind of asked him, said, we have to do it by a certain time and it needs to be done. You know, he wanted more money and then he took less because we told him we only had 5,000.
Right, and I appreciate that. And I would vote to amend my something to 90%. I just don't want to pay him all just kind of on principle because it's not clear.
Maybe we shouldn't
but I don't
pay
want
him
to
at
penalize.
all. Maybe we shouldn't pay him at all right this minute and say, listen, either at the next meeting.
I'd rather pay him the bulk of it. I don't want to. To me, that's more important. To get at least half of it. He had to rent equipment. He shouldn't have to. You know, that's money out of your pocket as opposed to profit. But
well, that's the thing. I mean, he was doing it more as a favor to the town because he has a relationship with the town.
I understand. Yeah, that's right. And timeliness, it had to be done by April 15th. So, yep.
Yeah,
right. So Peter's changing his original motion to 90%, and I'll second that one as well.
Mr. Chair? Oh, okay. Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Okay, none of my business because I'm not a commissioner, but I just wanted to say as the person who had to deal with him back and forth, you know, that yes, it was a rush. Yes, he had a general idea. He had seen the map, but he didn't have any coordinates to go by. And I agree that he did it in good faith. And but I just wanted to also comment that since there's going to be no money left in the what do you call it? The endowment or whatever you call it for this, maybe we could get somebody from the town to take this responsibility over, and maybe when it's out of, when it's back in season, maybe we could go in there, somebody like, Dan or whatever would be perfectly willing to go in there and clear out, to the required area. Just my 2 cents. Thank you for listening.
And I understood. I mean, the thing is it's open space. I'm just thinking out loud. So now we get the $5,000 for the first cut, right? Who's responsible for the second cut in 5 years?
7 years, the town.
The town's responsible in 7 years.
Well, here's the problem, and it goes back to when this was originally set up before I was on the committee. The $5,000 was supposed to cover every single brush cutting in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Apparently, that was woefully underfunded.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was suggesting that since we have to come up with a long-range plan anyway, maybe we could figure out a way to do something after the season's over.
What? Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's the town's, I know you say but now the town's got to come out of the taxpayers' money?
Yes.
Is there any grant you can get for this stuff? I mean, or Metacomet should be spearheading this situation and saying, Okay, they pick up grants for everything. They pick up grants for things that are lost causes.
That's something we can take up with Patrice next time we're speaking with her.
Okay. All
Uh,
right. That's something, yeah, so
That's a future agenda item.
Would it be possible
Okay,
that
I like
when
to
the
hear that.
developer, would it be possible that when the developer goes to the town to try to, buy back some of the open space, that they could renegotiate the endowment
we
here?
already made a deal with him on that aspect of it back when we first originated it. And I mean, the $5,000 thing was kind of, I remember it. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. And
Yep.
we thought it was kind of foolish for the $5,000, but that was all that was recommended. And
Who recommended it?
I want to say it was all in with Peter. You remember? I think maybe the Fish and the Wildlife. I mean, I don't know exactly. But it wasn't a number that we came up with. It was a number. I don't know. I forget how it all went down, but I know that we didn't pick that number. And
It might have been the planning board's engineer. Who else would have come up with an estimate?
yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? It might have been Gary Air, and we just said okay.
Alfonso, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. Well, we'll address that for the next 7 years from now. We'll worry about that. I guess we can. What's next, Bill?
Okay, well, there's still a motion on the table.
Oh, yes. All in favor? Damon Tenio, aye.
Carl Hummel, yes.
Tim Icardi, yes.
Peter Coffin, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna want to draft a letter that goes along with before he gets a check from the town. So I'm gonna pass that by you guys to make sure that meets your approval.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You don't want him to get a check that just says, here's less than you contracted
Right.
for. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I kind of in this situation. I mean, it's. But whatever. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's the point, I guess, that we went in there and did a bunch of work and.
Right.
And if he could have gone the extra 10%, I'm sure he would have. But I mean, if there was, like I said again, I keep repeating myself, but I mean, if there's a tree line there, and he went to the tree line, he probably assumed that was the stopping point,
Yeah.
But
I don't want to beat this.
We'll address it and get it figured out.
Yeah, I don't want to beat this to death, but you know that we can go in there as often as we want. You don't have to wait 7 years. If it was cheaper overall to go in there like every year or every 2 years and just whack back the biggest stuff, to prevent the secession, that might be a smart move. Yeah.
That might be a maintenance program instead of waiting until it grows up 6 feet.
Exactly. And highway has to go in there to maintain that detention pond anyway.
Yeah, that might be an easier throw to Alan,
Yeah.
Maybe to get him to go in there and help out, or get Dan to help out with him. Maybe Alan will, where it wouldn't be as bad.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll get on that.
Okay. Minutes.
We got anything else?
Minutes. Yeah. Minutes for
the minutes?
225 and 325.
Carl Hummel, I move we accept the minutes for those 2 dates.
Peter Coffin, I second it.
All in favor, Damon, aye.
Carl, yes.
Tim, yes.
Peter, yes.
Okay. And then, gents, as far as signing documents, we're going to have let's see, we're going to have the 2 ratifications, the conservation restriction, and I guess, Damon, I'll get you the contract for the lake.
Okay.
And I think that's it. So if you want, I will try to
the
get
conservation restriction or the.
Yeah, I mentioned that. So if you want, I'll just get those other documents to the town clerk so they'll all be in one place.
That would be great, yeah.
I'll try to do that, yeah. And if not, they'll be in the Concom mailbox in the mailroom. I'll have that done in a couple of days, and I'll shoot you a message when they're all ready. And then the last
Okay,
thing would just be to figure out when you want to meet in May. You still want to stick to it once a month?
I think,
I mean, it's
think
been
everybody's okay with
relatively
that, right?
slow, you know?
Yeah.
If you were to go to the 27th, that would be, or wait a minute. The 27th, that would run really close to Memorial Day weekend, so maybe you want to do it on the second or the third Thursday.
That's fine.
Somebody want to?
May 20th.
Okay.
I'd be fine.
Everybody
with
okay
I
with
think
that?
Be a fully functioning transmitter of 5G by then. So
What'd you say, Emilio?
I said I'll be fully vaccinated at that point in time. So
Yeah.
it was a 5G joke.
I'm assuming that I'm still going to be with you at that point, although I haven't not heard anything at all.
He's on vacation. That Dave is on vacation. It's supposed to start next week is what I'm hearing, so we'll see.
See, yeah, I actually tapped out a message to, I've been asking HR for at least 2 weeks to please fill me in, because we got some transition to do here, but I finally wrote one to the town administrator and said, please give me the courtesy of an update.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I believe that's it, gentlemen.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Carl Hummel, I move we adjourn.
Peter seconds that motion.
All in favor, Damon, aye?
Carl, yes.
Peter, yes.
Tim, yes.
Have a good night,
I thought maybe we could stay on for another hour and just talk about stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll stop
Thanks.
the recording since we're adjourned, then you can say whatever you want.
Hold your tongue, Tim.
No.
All right.